Apa? Okey, sudah. Tes, dia dengar. Pakif. To make sure the event goes smoothly, we ask everyone online to keep the microphone muted unless asked to speak. Remember to turn on your camera and avoid interrupting or speaking while someone else is talking. Also, please refrain from sending messages in the chat unless necessary. Mekar mewangi bunga cempaka, sayang harumnya memukau sudah. Majlis bermula tirai dibuka dengan alunan madah yang indah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam Malaysia Madani. Salam Beyond the Best. Selaut kasih seuntai rasa. To the Honorable Mr. Haji Ahmad Zaki bin Muhammad, Principal of Imtiaz YT Besut Secondary School, SM Imtiaz YT Besut. To the diligent Mr. Fakhrul Rizal bin Muhammad Din and Miss Suharni binti Samaruddin as counselors of SM Imtiaz YT Besut, also serving as advisors for PRSI BEST. Honored panel members, distinguished and radiant, teachers, program coordinators, and to all online participants and audiences, may you be blessed by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Welcome to the Germany-Malaysia National Cross Dialogue Program. Brothers and sisters, first and foremost, let us express our gratitude to the Almighty Allah for His blessings and mercy that have allowed us together tonight virtually for an ilmiah discussion program called International Gathering Young Mind Session Germany-Malaysia. Kalau pergi Tanjung Keramat, anak manis jangan diangkat. Bersama kita memohon rahmat, moga majlis mendapat berkat. Therefore, I invite brotherku Muhammad Izdihar binku Ahmad Munawir to lead the prayer. فليتفضل مشكورا ومأجورا.
الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم إنك خلاق العزيم، إنك سميع عليم، إنك غفور رحيم، إنك رب العرش العظيم، إنك البر الجواد الكريم. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم. Praise be to God. Praise be to God, the Lord of the world. Peace and blessings are upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, and for those who follow his example till the judgment day. Allahumma ya Allah, on this blessed night, in conjunction with International Gathering Young Mind Session, we beseech thee and we are grateful towards you in favor of all the infinite blessings to us, your humble servant, to live a safe and prosperous life. Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram, we seek your blessings for the flawless progress of this event from the beginning till the end. We seek your guidance to stay clear of events that would be detrimental to the progress of this event. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hadha jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma. ولا تجعل اللهم فينا ولا معنا ولا من يتبعنا شقيا ولا مترودا ولا محروما. اللهم انصر إخواننا المسلمين والمجاهدين والمستضعفين في فلسطين وفي كل زمان وفي كل مكان. اللهم ارزقنا فهم النبيين وحفظ المرسلين وإلهام الملائكة المقربين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. May Allah accept and bless the leadership of the prayer. Before we proceed with our agenda tonight, I kindly request all online participants tonight to share the link to our program so that we can further enhance our event. Let's make tonight's program even more vibrant together. Sukarno, the first president of the Republic of Indonesia, once said, "Give me 10 young men and I will shake the world." I believe his spirit should resonate within every teenager so that we can collectively harness it to strengthen our country's aspirations, aligning with the theme of our tonight's event, application of helping skills in dawa approaches. For everyone's information, this program features several distinguished panels from abroad, namely from Germany, and is managed by PRSI Best. In a way, our online program tonight is categorized as an international level program. Emas tempahan buatmu puteri, busana indah tampan rupawan. Tidaklah lengkap majlis ini tanpa ucapan dari Tuan. With that, I invite and welcome Mr. Haji Ahmad Zaki bin Muhammad, Principal of SM Imtiaz YT Besut, to say a few words and officially inaugurate our program tonight. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in. Okay. Thank you, Miss Amirah. Okay. Greetings, peace be upon you, and may the blessings of Allah be upon you. Those who strive, Mr. Muhammad Fakhrizal bin Muhammad Din and Mrs. Suharni binti Samaruddin, counselors of Sekolah Menengah Imtiaz Yayasan Terengganu Besut, respected Mr. Furqan Azigit and Ms. Zainab Sassi, our esteemed panel for tonight. Furthermore, to all participants in these virtual sessions, all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I express my gratitude for us to gather tonight to participate in the International Gathering Young Minds session, Germany, Malaysia, application of helping skills in dawa approaches, organized by IBES Counseling Interactive Center, IKIC. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the organizers for successfully hosting such an event tonight. It is the first ever international collaborative online event this year, entirely managed by student leadership. For the audience information, this program has been planned and organized by IKIC with the aim to expose the situation of Muslims in Germany, share insights into their daily lives there, narrate their experiences of sharing stories about Islam. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that many children today are not sufficiently exposed to Islam outside their country. Therefore, I hope that programs like this can serve as the best platform for sharing information and experiences so that students can become guides in the future. Once again, millions of thanks to the IBES team, IKIP, and invited panelists for this wonderful program tonight. That is all. My guidance and blessings be with you all. Peace and blessings be upon you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Haji Ahmad Zaki bin Muhammad, for graciously delivering the opening speech. Our gathering continues with a photography session. Therefore, I kindly request all attendees to turn on their cameras for the first photography session. Thank you to those who were willing to briefly turn on their cameras. Before knowledge penetrates the heart, as they say, one must know to love. Therefore, let us meet eye to eye with our wise panels. Allow me to introduce our panels tonight. In our first panel, she is as lovely as can be. The first panel is named Zainab Sassi. She has a Bachelor Psychology and Educational Science at Regensburg, Master in Criminology at Hamburg, and PhD candidate at Medical Faculty in München and Regensburg. Assalamualaikum, Sis Zainab.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for your introduction and for the presentation. And thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. And next, the second panel is our esteemed brother, Furqan Azigit, who is student Master of Science in Physics in Regensburg. Wie geht es dir, Furqan?
Dankeschön, Alhamdulillah. Mir geht es gut. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Okay, are you guys ready for our questions tonight?
Yes, of course.
I think we are.
Let's begin with the question number 1. Either of you can answer this question. Okay. For the first question, Can you guys tell us more about the history of Muslim Student Association of Regensburg? Like, what is the background of this society and what program has been done by the society?
I prepared a presentation to answer this question. So I will just continue to share my screen and show you the presentation, if that is okay, Amira.
Okay, you may present your presentation.
Can you give me host rights so that I can share the screen?
Wait. Fakif said, you can just share it even though you're not the host. Click the share button.
I cannot share the presentation. I think somebody of you has to do it, either Amira or Fakif.
Oh, you cannot share?
Yes.
Okay.
It's simply not.
All right. Okay. So thank you very much again for hosting us and for the invitation. And we're really happy to answer your question, Emira, about the background and the history of our student association, about our Muslim Student Association. We want to kick off by just explaining what our student association in Germany is about and how we started and where we are located. If you look at the map, can you all see the map of Germany at the side? The red point there is Regensburg, actually the city where we are from. And here are some pictures of Germany. Here's the technical university and the regular university, I'd say, and some pictures of Germany about the dome of the old town hall. And we have a really famous river, Germany, that is called Danube, Donau in German. So just to give you some ideas where we are located and what our place actually looks like. But now to your question, Amira. Raqif, can you go to the next slide? Yes. What is the MHG, or in English, the Muslim Student Association? Furkan, maybe you can just introduce us in that way.
Yeah, thanks. So the Muslim Student Association could start by the foundation, really. So we were founded in 2021 on 1st January. And before that, there had existed a Muslim Student Association, but it somehow got forgotten. So basically, our student association is a revival of the older one. And what is that? So we are a group of Muslim students, and our goal is bringing the Muslim community together, be it at the university or in the city itself, or for example, also at mosques. And we try to strengthen us intellectually and spiritually. And we are also establishing many cooperations with other communities, with other groups of either religion. And of course, the most important thing is our goal to seek the pleasure of Allah. If we want to talk about us or about our group itself, if we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So our group is made out of it's very multicultural. So we have German, Tunisia, Morocco, representatives of Turkey, for example, myself, Pakistan, also Indonesia, Albania, and so on. So we are very multicultural. And we are trying to, and also doing, organizing events at our local universities and also in our mosques. And we also to make cooperations with different city institutions, with other university groups, and also groups of other religions as well, and so on. So here in the picture, you can already see an event of us. It was, I think, 2022. At the beginning of the semester, we invited all students, especially students that started at this semester, and we were introducing ourselves and the Islamic institutions in our city. And as you can see, it was there are many guests.
Something else that concerns our Muslim Student Association. So as Furkan said, we are very multicultural. He, for example, is of Turkish descent, and I have German and Tunisian. One parent is German and the other is Tunisian. So we have really many countries in our student association, and also many talents. We are a team right now comprised of, I think, 20 people who work for the Muslim community at university and also in the mosques, actually everywhere, I'd say, in Regensburg. For example, here in the audience, we have Munya, who is our social media manager. We also have Melek, who is also helping the main team. We have Mustafa, we have Fatima, who is our computer scientist and more responsible for the technical stuff and programming our website. So the main thing in our team is really much helping everyone to express his talent and to help the community grow with the talent. So this is one of the main goals of our student association: bring Muslims who are gifted and talented together and to help other communities in our town. And what we did, what Furkan also said, is sometimes we have events where we just talk about how to live in Regensburg and how to access options, Islamic options. For example, which mosques do we have in Regensburg? Where can we buy halal food? Where can we buy clothes that are, especially for the girls, hijabs and long clothing? So what possibilities do we have there? And that's the reason why we have these events as on the screen every semester, I think, at least one per semester, just to inform all incoming students or students which are already in Regensburg, just to inform them about the options that we have in our city. And another goal that we also have is to welcome not only incoming students in Germany, but also international students coming from abroad, from Muslim countries, and to just help them to have a circle, I'd say, of friends once they arrive, because we do not want anyone to feel alone. We don't want that anyone is lonely in his room. We just want to really have a community spirit and just work as a team together. So that's why we organize these events, and that's why we try to be constant in organizing these events and invite everyone who's in Regen to join our Muslim studies. Another thing that we also do to make or to guarantee that all Muslim students at the university can practice their religion is to take care of the facilities where we can pray or eat. So maybe, Stefan, can you go to the next slide? We have two main facilities where we can pray at the university. One is located in the main campus of the university, and the other one is located in the technical university. One is called a regular prayer room, which is under our responsibility, and the other one is a room of silence. Yeah, Furkan, over to you, because you know a lot about these two rooms and how we fought to have these rooms, and maybe you can also talk about the plans that we have.
Yeah, so we are actually very thankful of the university that they provided us with a dedicated room for prayer. So this is actually not common in Germany. Many other universities don't have such a dedicated room. And yeah, we are very happy about that, although it's a bit small. But inshallah, we are trying to extend it. So we are in deep conversations with the president of the university to get an extension of the room. And inshallah, also with your dua, it will happen soon. And besides that, we have, as Zainab said, the room of silence. This is rather a room for everyone, so it's not just dedicated to Muslims. Everyone of every religion or non-religion can come in here and do something in silence. Some do, for example, sports, or Muslims, of course, pray inside here. And yeah, we are very happy that our universities provide us with such possibilities. And also many other groups in other universities, they dream of something like that. And what is also interesting is that, for example, for wudu, washing, the ritual washing, there are also establishments at the university where you can perform your wudu. And yeah, exactly. We are quite happy and proud of that.
And these two rooms are also rooms where we just sometimes, if no one is praying there, just spend time together. Or if there's, for example, spare time and somebody just wants to relax and read some Quran, this is a possibility that we have at the university. But still, priority is given to those who want to pray in these rooms. So before somebody wants to relax, he has to make sure that no one is planning to pray there. Yes, these are two rooms which we can access and which we use for our prayers and to just calm down from I'd say the routine at university. That was just everything about, or just now we mainly talked about the main institution, our main student association, Ringsburg. But what we also have is a network of Muslim student association all across Germany. So maybe can you go to the next slide? Thank you. So what we established in Germany, I think 4 years ago, approximately, is a network of Muslim student associations all across Germany. So all Muslim student associations in every city in Germany which want to participate in this project are gathered in a group, and we communicate, for example, if a group has a question on a prayer room, or how to host a iftar, or how to access a lecture, we just talk on this platform and we try to give each other advices, because some groups have more experience than other groups, and we just try to learn from one another. This is a great advantage that this network has. Thaqif, can you go to the next slide? So the Muslim Student Association network has over 80 Muslim student associations all across Germany. If you look at the map, all the red points are cities which participate in this network. And as I said, we're connected on a platform, on Telegram to be exact. And we use it just to exchange ideas, skills, experiences, or for example, if we have online lectures or online events, as we have today, we try to cooperate in projects and spread it to other Muslim student associations. All right, but now maybe over to some events that we hosted locally. Fatah, can you go to the next? Fuka, maybe you can kick off with our campaign on Islamophobia and how we try to fight it on campus.
Yes, exactly. So I think we can categorize our events into 3 parts. Say the first part is more a political one. So we are also tackling Islamophobia in Europe, in Germany, which is unfortunately quite present. And there in 2021, this was during the pandemic, unity of several Muslim student associations across Germany. You can see them listed on the top. There were in total 11 associations. And we united to for making an event about or against anti-Muslim racism. And the 1st July, it is marked or highlighted as Day Against Islamophobia in Germany. And we used the week before until the 1st July to tackle that topic. And we organized a lot of talks, workshops, and even got safe spaces, which is basically a gathering of people who, for example, experienced racism in Germany or anywhere else, and they have a safe space, closed space, so to say, where they can talk about it. And even we recorded podcasts about this topic and also about possible solutions for racism. And we also published them on Spotify. Maybe you can check them out if you can, if you know German. And yeah, besides that, so this is an example where the network of the Muslim Student Association helped us in creating such thing with many other Muslim student associations across Germany. And another example where we also invited a speaker. You can see it on the top. So this was specifically about anti-Muslim racism in educational institutions, for example, in schools or in universities, or also at the office in the job. And there we had a collaboration with our Christian groups at the university and also in the city of Regensburg, and a collaboration, of course, with the university itself. And so these were nice chances that we had to tackle these topics and also make people aware that Islamophobia is real, unfortunately, and that something has to be done against it. And yeah, so this is for an example for the, let me say, political wing. And another part or another category is, of course, we are a Muslim student association. So it focuses more on Islamic education. And there again, it was during the pandemic. We had a talk of Tariq Hazza, and this was also a collaboration of different Muslim student associations. And yeah, maybe Zainab, you can tell more about him, because he will come back again in a few weeks.
Yes, exactly. So another focus on our events is to plan events which help us increase our iman. You know what I mean? To just be more aware of what do we believe in, what do we have to do as Muslims, what is our duty. And one of our duties as Muslims, or especially as students who are at university, is to be excellent in everything, to excel in everything. And that's why we organized this event here in Germany. It's Erfolgreich als Muslim, which is in English, being successful as a Muslim. And then the subtitle is Focus auf Erfolg, die Änderung des Mindsets, which is in English, focusing on access and on success by changing the mindset. And that was a lecture, an online event that we hosted with many other associations, with the Muslim Student Association, for example, in Würzburg, in Aachen, and in Berlin. So when we come back to the network, as we said, we cooperate on many projects. This is a project we cooperated. And the talk was mainly about how can we be successful, what we have to keep in mind when wanting to achieve success as Muslims, and that basically pleasing Allah should always be our priority, and then comes everything after that. So that was the main thing that our speaker was called Tariq Hazza, he's really popular. I don't know if you heard about him, but he's really popular. He studied Islamic studies in Medina in Saudi Arabia. He himself has German and Egyptian ancestry, I think, something like this. And we like to invite him over and over again. For example, on March 8th, next week, on Friday, he's going to give us another talk on a similar topic. So this is also something we concentrate our events on, Islamic topics, theological topics, for us to increase our iman. And another thing is always the charity thing, because as Muslims, we always have to think of those who are in need, of those who are poor, those who have less than we have. And that's why we organized a charity week. Over to you, Furqan, because you're also involved in the organization of the charity week. Maybe you can just say a couple of words to that project.
Yeah, so the charity week, we basically had our first kickoff in Bavaria. So this is organization by Islamic Relief. Probably many of you already know about Islamic Relief. And there we gathered together and tried to collect money. We sold also cakes or something to eat at the mosque, and collected money and sent it to people in need. And as I said, this was the first in Bavaria. In other parts of Germany, this is already something established, and which is also done by Muslim student associations. And maybe also if you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Our activities are not just for Muslims. We also, as I told before, have collaborations with our Christian groups at the university. And this is a perfect way to come together and also, basically to do dawa in Germany. And the best way is, of course, coming together at a dinner table or breakfast table. So on the top left corner, you can see two events. The first one involved a dinner, and the second one a breakfast. And before that, we always have a program together, which is most often religiously motivated. So, for example, at the breakfast, before the breakfast, we had a session in the room of silence that you also saw before. And there we prayed. So the Christians, of course, they pray in their own way, and they sang, for example, songs. And we Muslims who attended the event, we had an imam of our local mosque who was reciting the Quran. So he has a very beautiful voice, and we could already see in that round that many people inside, also non-Muslim people, were kind of touched by it, or probably they also listened the first time to the Quran. And this is quite a nice way to bring Islam close to these people, to, for example, Christians. And also after that, I think this is always the main part to do dawa or to talk about religion, is at the table. So every one of us likes to eat, and if we now come together as different religious groups, and we actually don't know each other. So I just know that they are Christian and they know that I'm Muslim. So we basically have a mutual point, which is religion. And when we talk about it, some for example, can ask, or I can, for example, ask my Christian fellow things about Jesus, for example. And of course, they have another understanding, and most of the time they don't even know that Isa alayhi salam is basically Jesus, their religion. And they often don't know that. And after telling that, they're surprised and they want to learn more. So this is basically a step forward in dawa, because I mean we live in an age of modern technology. So if you want to know something, or if you want to know more of something, you can just Google it. But usually no one comes, or no one who did not got in touch with religion or with Islam, they won't Google it. So in these ways, if we just mention them, okay, we are Muslims, we also have, for example, Jesus in our religion, or we also pray, and so on. This can motivate them to be more willing to learn more about Islam. And I think also the best way is during dinner or breakfast. There you can already see we had dinner. Yeah, so on the left. No, it was breakfast. On
Breakfast,
the left bottom corner. And also a good thing about having breakfast all together is that we can share our culture or traditional food. And there's not only German, but also, as I said, we are very multicultural. We have Turkish, we have Indonesian, we have Pakistani people. And by these events, we come together, we come close to each other, and also try to make dawa, to talk about religion, and just it is most often enough to just talk about it and make them interested in it, even if they don't like it. They usually tend to want to learn more about Islam, and I think this is a quite beautiful goal. Exactly. So Zainab, do you have something to add?
Yes, maybe something to the word dawa itself. When we, for example, want to make dawa or just invite anybody to Islam, there's also the hadith. I think you know it. States dawa is through one's manners, through one's behavior, and how somebody is with other people. And what is really important when we want to make dawa is that we really have to focus with the other students, with the Christian students, on the things that we have in common rather than the things that we do not have in common. For example, as Furqan said, we both believe in Jesus, we both believe in God, we both believe in basically the same prophets. So for us, it's really important to focus on the communalities really much, the things we have in common, rather than say, you don't believe in the Quran, that means I don't have to talk to you, or I don't want to be friends with you or something. The main thing, or the main goal really much we want to make dawa is, first of all, taking it slow, really coming together, as Furqan said, on a setting when there's food is always a good idea, but really coming together and just focusing on the communalities and the things we have in common, rather than the things that divide us. And another thing that's also important related to dawa is we can only make dawa when we have knowledge about our own religion. So if we don't know Islam, we can talk about Islam. I think that's really logical to everyone. So at the same time, for us, the main motivation to do dawa is also for ourselves to become better in our religion, and for ourselves to excel, to be excellent. Because only if we know Islam, and if only we know what is written in the Quran and the lessons that our prophets had, we can really pass it to other people and talk with other people about it. So for us, it's really much a priority, I'd say, and a duty to acquire more and more Islamic knowledge, and then to pass it in settings as meetings with the Christian Student Association. So dawa is a really big thing in our Muslim Student Association, to put it in a nutshell. That's a really important aspect that we have, and we try to at least have one meeting with the Christian Student Association per semester. Sometimes 2 meetings, depends on how much capacities we have, but it's definitely a priority and also one of our main goals that we want to reach in our association. All right. Anything you want to add, Furqan, on the slide concerning dawa?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, of course, such things always, especially in Europe, comes with challenges. If you could go to the next slide, please. So in Germany, there is unfortunately a rise of the right-wing extremist political group, and there have been protests against basically anyone who's not German, and this also tends to extremism, and which is of course a problem for everyone living in Germany, not just the Muslims. And this always also creates prejudice, especially if we then focus on the media, how they portray Islam. I mean, you all would probably know that it's not always positive, and this creates people's minds basically a negative image of Islam and also of Muslim people. And of course, often, unfortunately, it happens if there's terrorism, for example, portrayed in media. Often it comes to the mind that it has some connections to Islam, which is, of course, not the case. And with our events and also talks, etc., and our gatherings, we try to tackle these issues to make people aware that Islam is a peaceful religion, that Islam means peace, that Islam also means accepting and coming together, and it does not have anything to do with terrorism and such things. So making aware of that is one of our goals. And of course, there are also problems in institutions regarding the outward appearance. So, for example, people with beard. So this was in the past a problem. Nowadays, it's quite popular to have a beard out of a sudden. And this was associated with terrorists, basically, because they also tend to have long beards. And also regarding clothing, so especially the hijab. So this is still, unfortunately, a major problem in Europe. Not so much in Germany. If, for example, look at France or some other countries, they have more problems with that. But fortunately, there are also many people who protest, so nowadays protest against the right-wing extremists. So this you can see at the bottom image. So in German is Menschenrechte statt rechte Menschen. So this means that rights, so human rights instead of right humans, basically. And we are very happy that people are also that many people in Germany are aware of this danger of extremism, and that they also protest against it. And one major thing, and also regarding the current events, is of course Germany feels basically how do I put it? So they think that they have to do everything for Israel because of their past. And so any criticism of Israel is often, yeah, being regarded as anti-Semitic. And these are also issues that we come across and we try to tackle on. Yeah, Zainab, anything to add?
I think that's actually it, the main challenges. I can only emphasize the aspect with the hijab, because Germany is not a major Muslim country, so the majority here is non-Muslim. And so for us, I mean, if a girl or a sister covers up with hijab or with long clothes, it's something that people aren't used to see. And right now, since 2015, since Germany accepted a huge wave, I'd say, of refugees, I feel like the situation became better in terms of the appearance, and people are watching less, and just are generally more accepting than before. But it's still a long way to go to improve the situation on being less judged on the appearance, and to guarantee women with hijab, for example, the same chances when they're applying for a job, or not to judge on them, because hijab is something that can be German and is also German. If a German is wearing a hijab, he's still a German. It doesn't make him un-German. So that's something I actually wanted to add. But we can go to the next slide, which is on general activism in Germany and Regensburg, and also on our university and our campus. Activism has a huge importance, I'd say, on campus and also not on campus. For example, on campus we have the events against racism, Islamophobia, and also rent prices for students. Rent prices are increasingly high in Regensburg and becoming more and more every year. So that's a thing why most of the students, Muslims and non-Muslims, are protesting. And the topic racism, we have a event week in our city, which is called Weeks Against Racism, and we also always try to participate with projects in these weeks by organizing lectures or workshops on Islamophobia. What is it actually? What is discrimination? What does it mean if somebody is being discriminated against? Just to talk about this topic and making people aware that these phenomena exist and that they should not be ignored. And when we talk about protests in Regensburg or in Germany, just in general, at the last weeks, the protests on a ceasefire in Palestine have increased. I think it's clear why to everyone, unfortunately. And also protests, especially in Germany, against right-wing extremism, because as Volkan said on the previous slide, Germany has the history with right-wing parties, and Germany has a history of genocide and a really, really bad past, I'd say. So it becomes more and more important to make people aware that right-wing extremism is still a thing in Germany, and that it still has to be that people still have to be made aware of, and that it's something that the country has to fight against. Because as the past has shown, it's really something that is a parasite to the population, and it divides the population, and everything that divides rather than brings people together is a bad thing and should be protested against and fought against. And also, I think you all know Fridays for Future, the movement that Greta Thunberg started. We also have these protests in our main city in Regensburg against climate change, against everything that's. So yeah, activism is a huge thing. It's an important aspect to express our opinion. It's one of our rights also to express our opinion. And it's also the main tool to make those who aren't being heard, to give them actually a voice. So We try to be as critical as we can when protesting on racism, against racism, or making people aware of Islamophobia. But we can still do more, and inshallah, we will do so. All right, but now to the next slide, which is something that concerns rather our association again, which is also a form of not only activism, but more something that is, I'd say, peaceful activism, bringing people together. Furkan, you can kick off if you want to, and I can just add some aspects.
Yeah, exactly. So Ramadan is very close to us now, and we also tend to plan many things on Ramadan as a Muslim student association. So last year we had our first big iftar at the university, where we invited all students and not only Muslims. And we had a great time. So we had like over 100 participants breaking with us the fast. And before that, we had a small program involving the earthquake events back then, which was in Turkey and Syria, fortunately. And we talked about it. We explained it, for example, from the perspective of physics. And yeah, we had a great time, and it was a nice coming together, and also getting to know each other. And on the right side, you can see pictures of another event, which also involves Ramadan. So this was basically the foundation of the Muslim Education Institute in Regensburg. So this is something next to the Muslim Student Association. And there we invited not only Muslims, but especially also non-Muslims from across the city. Also the governor of Regensburg participated on that day. And there we basically showed them what our plans are for the future as a education institute. And of course, we had the iftar after that, and come close to people who probably haven't heard much of Islam, and probably also listened to the azan, to the call for prayer the first time. And this is also happening. So this iftar is happening not in a Islamic institution, but in a Christian institution actually. So this is also something unique, and we are quite proud of. And I think we had a great time. And here also, just to emphasize how important it is to come close to other religions, to people of other cultures, and so on. And if we want to speak generally about Ramadan in Germany, on the next slide, please. So here are some pictures of, for example, iftar in local mosques. So bigger mosques in Germany, they tend to give iftar every day, and smaller mosques try it sometimes on weekends. So you can see there already in some big cities, there are huge iftars, so where hundreds or thousands, I think, of participants break their fast. So this is something very cool to have in Germany, in a non-Muslim country. But of course, the best thing in the end is iftar with family and friends. So we also invite each other for iftar and also pray together. And Tarawih prayer is like the pearl that we have during Ramadan. And this is also performed in basically every mosque. There you can see, for example, in the middle, there's a mosque in Berlin, and the architecture resembles mosques in Turkey. And on the right side, we have a mosque which is quite new. It was recently established in Cologne and has a beautiful architecture. And we also have their special prayers every day, and the Quran is being recitated. And also, of course, we also have a lot of talks about Islam and about Ramadan itself. Yeah. Zainab, anything to add? Otherwise,
no, actually not. I'd say we can go to the next slide, which is Ramadan at university. Furkan just previously explained that we host iftars at our university for the students who study there. And when we have these iftars, we always prepare a program that goes along with these feasts, with the iftar that we have. And last time when we had iftar, we organized student-led presentations. It was around the time when the earthquakes in Syria and Turkey happened. And so we thought, okay, we can combine science, student-led presentations with charity. We can make people aware of the earthquakes that happened there by explaining how does a earthquake start from a architecture and physics perspective. And some of our members prepared presentations. For example, on the right, one of our physics students prepared a presentation on the physics of earthquakes. And on the left, one of our architect Muslim students explained what impacts earthquakes have on the infrastructure of a country and how to build houses accordingly. And at the same day, we also collected money we collected donations for organizations who help victims of the earthquake. So this is the charity aspect we try to include in these events. And then afterwards, we just have a good time and have it together. So that's actually the main event that we have in Ramadan. We try to have it at least once per Ramadan, a very big iftar. But our local mosques, they offer iftar every single day. So if somebody's asking for more iftar events, we just say, okay, there's the mosque. You can just go to the mosque and have iftar there. So it really depends on the capacities. But at least once in Ramadan, we try to host a very big iftar. And it's also the possibility for students to come together, to eat together, to exchange ideas, to get to know one another, especially for the incoming students. The iftar once in Ramadan became really much a tradition. In Germany, have at least one iftar per month in Ramadan. So yeah, that's actually everything concerning Ramadan. But Furkan previously linked another institution that some of our association members founded. So Faqif, maybe you can go to the next slide. And that is the Muslim Education Institute, which is basically an institute that we, as the Muslim Student Association, founded with the help of others who are more experienced in that field. And what we do is we offer educational programs designed for the whole city, not only for students, but for children, mothers, parents in general, elderly people, lectures, workshops, actually everything. And one of our main events that we have is a workshop on Arabic calligraphy, the beautiful writing in Arabic. That's something we really like, and we try to do it once per semester. Or we visit, I'd say, historic places, such as in Nuremberg. Do you know Nuremberg? It has a really historical meaning. We went to a place which is called the Reichstagsgelände, which is the building where the Nazis gathered during their time when they were in power. And we also include other students from other cities, as you see in the picture. On the right, the green house is one of our main mosques, the Islamic Center of Regensburg, Islamisches Zentrum Regensburg. And that's also a building where we host a lot of lectures. For example, just a couple of days ago, we had a lecture of a sheikh from Egypt who talked about the identity of a Muslim. And yeah, the Muslim Education Institute basically gave us the platform to reach everyone in Regensburg and not only students, which is also part of our agenda, I'd say, as students or just Muslims in general, to try to include as many as possible. Yeah, Faqat, can you go to the next slide? Because there are other projects that we also conducted. Yeah, as I said, we went to Nuremberg. We had a lecture in the mosque. You can see in the bottom picture on the left, there's our sheikh. He was just sitting there. And most of the times we just sit on the floor and we just talk about a topic. And we have somebody who gives an input. For example, on this picture, it was the sheikh from Egypt. He talked about what's the duty of a Muslim? What is our identity as Muslims? What do we have to do? What does the Quran say about being a Muslim, and how do we have to treat each other accordingly? We were sitting on that day, I think, 3 hours in the prayer room. So we really like to just get in touch with one another and just have deep conversations about a certain topic. And in the middle is a group photo when we went to Nuremberg, which was also a nice trip, and really nice just to see historic places, remind ourselves of the history of the country we are from, and also just to get together and talk about history itself, you know, because we're so much into our studies, and we sometimes forget to remind ourselves of other things such as history or identity or other things. And on the right is the post of a lecture that we had that where we hosted a professor who was called Jörg Imran Schröter about Islamic peace building. How do we build peace as Muslims? What does the Quran say about building peace? So yeah, these are just some events, some projects, some workshops that we organized as a Muslim Education Institute, which is, I'd say, the daughter kind of the Muslim Student Association, because the same core team that is active in the Muslim Student Association is also active in the Muslim Education Institute. The only difference is that with the Education Institute, we really try to reach the whole city and not only students. And inshallah, we will succeed in doing so still. All right, over to the next slide, which just gives you an insight how we were perceived in the public. Furkan, you can proceed if you want to.
Yeah, so the Muslim Education Institute got quite a great public response. Many papers or websites wrote about it. That something like that has been founded the first time in Germany, next to, for example, a Christian education institute. And yeah, this is just some of the papers, some of the articles and their headlines about our group. And we are also quite pleased if you go to the next slide for our activism and our activities that we've done in Regensburg. We also got, we were basically had the first prize of an award, which is called Rotary Development. And yeah, there were many participants, including us, and we are quite happy and thank Allah for that, that we basically got first in that. Yeah, Zainab.
Yeah, I think it's a good picture to show everyone to conclude the presentation. I mean, hard work pays off, and we won the first prize for youth engagement, which is called a Rotary Development Award, and we were really happy about this. And inshallah, we will win many other prizes with our work that we do, but most of all, win the hearts of our siblings and also please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our work that we do. That's the main intention that we should have. And if we don't have this intention, then everything we do is actually in vain, and we don't need to continue our work. So reminding ourselves of our intention, why we do or why we are active in the Muslim Student Association, and why we're active in a Muslim Education Institute and in many other organizations and institutes and mosques. The main intention is really to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we always try to remind ourselves on this intention. So yeah, I think we're done so far with giving you a short, long idea about our association, how we're active, how we do dawa, what the meaning of activism is within our organization. So, Beck, if you can go to the next slide, to the very last slide. Thank you very much for listening, for attending, for your attention. And I think right now it's time for questions or comments or anything you want to say.
Such an amazing presentation from you guys just now.
Thanks.
Okay. What are your guys' advices to students in Malaysia about dakwah generally?
I may start. So I was also thinking about that a long time. And I think personally, I think the best thing a Muslim can do is to basically live Islam through and through. So just not by talking or by, I don't know, writing. I think the best thing, especially also for in foreign countries, is to show or depict Islam from the best, in the best way possible. To just live Islam in anything you do, be it eating or, I don't know, sleeping, talking to people. And so that people see, okay, this guy is always friendly, he's nice. Why is that? And they usually, so non-Muslims usually tend to go to these people and ask, so why are you like that? And I think this is also a good chance then to start the dawa with the mouth. So not just by living Islam. And I think in that way, inshallah, we can also please Allah and yeah, gather more Muslims, inshallah. And yeah, this would be advice from me. And of course, never forget to pray and do all the obligations. And yeah, but in my opinion, the most important thing is to really live Islam and yeah, be a mu'min, inshallah.
My advice would be to first focus on ourselves, for us to become the best version of ourselves and acquire more and more knowledge, know what the word of God, the Quran, is about. And really much, there's the hadith where it said that the Prophet ﷺ was like a walking Quran. And I think if we just come close to this metaphor, to being a walking Quran, and really to focus on our manners and on our behavior and how we treat others, I think this is the best way of giving da'wah. And also the main way, I'd say. The absolute wrong way is to just go to anybody, show him the Quran, tell him, why don't you believe in the Quran? Why do you believe in the Bible or the Torah or any other book? So I think the best thing is really much to start or to begin with one's manners, one's own knowledge, and then in order to have the possibility to pass it to other people, as we really much focus on becoming the best version of ourselves, and then we have something that we can pass to other people and also pass to the next generations.
Okay, thank you for the advices. Okay, so now can we open the Q&A session? Okay, so for the participants, you guys can ask them a question so they can answer your question later.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, Sis Zainab and Bro Furqan. Okay, I do have two questions for you guys. For the first question, we as Muslims do have to face any challenge or conflict such as exclusions or rejection. So actually, how can we maintain our momentum for dakwah when we face that challenge? And I want to ask you guys also on how you guys actually cope with this conflict. And the second question is there any particular issue within the association? And as the president and the vice president, how do you guys intend to address it? That's all.
Maybe I can just kick off with the first question, how to maintain dawa in difficult times. I think, or I'd say I'm convinced that the most important thing is always to remind oneself, why am I doing dawa? Is it because I want to show myself, or I want to please another person, or do I want to please my parents or whatever? Because the main intention, the main goal should only be to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if that intention is really fixed, you can do da'wah even in war or in the most difficult times you have. So really working on the intention and making sure that the intention is something that became part of one's personality is, I think, the most important thing. And also I'd say the starting point where you can just, I mean, if the intention is not pure and is not fixed, dawah is in vain. It doesn't lead to anything, and it's not something I'd say where I would say that Allah is pleased with. So really making sure that we have the right intention, I'd say, is the most important thing, and is also the guarantee to be able to perform dawah in every situation, in bad and in good times. And the second question, can you maybe just briefly repeat the second question?
Is there any particular issue within the association, and how do you guys, as the president and the vice president, intend to address the challenge?
You mean if there is a challenge in the association, if there is one, and how do we address it? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. If there is a challenge, for example, if we face a challenge in our team, in our association, the first thing that we do is we talk about it. We don't hide it. We usually have our meetings once per month, and if we need it, we have it twice or 3 times per month. And if there is an issue or a challenge that we're facing, the only thing we can do is talk about it and not just swallow it or hide it. It's really much talk about it, and we are really transparent with one another. Transparency is really important in not only in our association, but I'd say in Islam as a Muslim just in general. Being open, being direct, and being honest with the issue, and addressing the people directly without talking about them negatively. So when we address an issue, coming back to your question, is we organize a meeting and we talk about it openly. Right, Furqan, or do you have anything to add?
Yeah, if I may add something. It was very, very well said, Zainab. So this is also what my response would be. And we also focus on asking all the time in our group if everything is okay, if there's any critics, if something was wrong and we should talk about it. So we really want to create an nice atmosphere, and without facing major problems. We always focus on talking about issues in a peaceful way, without bragging or talking behind someone, and we try to do it in a basically Islamic way.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, to the next question. From Humaira. She asked how to have sabr in facing problem and not giving up in something, especially da'wah and studying.
Mhm. How to have sabr in facing problem. Asking Allah to give each of us sabr, I think. If you ask Allah anything in prayer, it's always the safest way and it's the best way to achieve anything, be it patience or honesty or being firm in one's religion. So really praying to God, I think, is a big thing. And another thing, as I said, being aware of the intention why somebody does it. I think if you really know what your goal is with wanting to do dawah, you can do dawah in every situation. And also practicing to do dawah and being patient when doing dawah, because practice makes perfect. And once you practice dawah and you know how to really do it in a good way and how people also like it and how you achieve the goal, you don't actually need any sabr anymore because you know how to do it and you can just navigate through any situations. So really practicing and asking Allah to give each and every one of us sabr, patience in every situation.
And also think the easiest way of doing dawah is, I think, by heart. So you cannot do it by your mouth or with your hands or something like that. I think the best is to go into yourself and ask Allah for for how you call it, for helping others, for improving others, and
Okay, moving on to the last question, I think. From Afif Fathi. He asked how to keep study and it for Allah every time.
How to keep study and niyyah for Allah every time. I think something else that I can add, especially to this questions, is really to make sure that you have a good cycle of friends and good people who surround you and people who help you to achieve these goals, and always to remind you, why are we studying? Why are we practicing Islam? What is our duty? You know, the people that surround us, they have a great impact on our personality and how the way we perform in life. So really to make sure that the circle of friends or acquaintances or people that surround you is people you want to be surrounded with and will help you to become better and to excel and to change for the better. That's actually something that is quite important. And also to kind of be constant in studying and to having the right intention when reaching these goals. Because when I talk about our associations, I always say alhamdulillah, because when we begin our meetings and we end our meetings, we always remind ourselves. We always say, you know, guys, we don't do this kind of charity work because we want to please our parents or ourselves or brag or show anything off. We just do it for the sake of Allah. And reminding one another is really important. But you can only be reminded when you have the right circle of friends and the right circle of brothers and sisters. So making sure that you have a good surrounding is, I'd say, the answer to the question how to keep studying with the right niyyah for Allah every time. Make sure you have the right people surrounding you every time.
or maybe emphasize it, the last part of the question. So I would just say, I mean, if you already pray 5 times a day, you remember Allah five times a day. And plus, if you add the sunnah to it, to everything what you do, you're basically remembering Allah and or Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in every way, every day. And by that, I think you can also keep a peaceful mind, and also probably focus more on your studies. A good question, by the way.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, all questions have been answered quite clearly tonight. In summary, based on our theme application of helping skills in dakwah approaches, I can conclude that events like this need to be held in large numbers so that non-Muslim, especially non-Muslim children, can be exposed to Islam and not be influenced by other people's negative thoughts about Islam. This event can also have a huge impact on Muslims around the world. Dakwah or preaching is very important in the life of a Muslim, as the hadith says, "Bullighu anni walau ayah," which means convey from me even one sentence. Okay. Millions of thanks to our esteemed panels for joining us tonight and sharing their insights. We also extend our gratitude to the event organizers, and do not forget all online viewers, whether on Zoom or Facebook. We're looking forward to being able to collaborate again in the future. Before we conclude our gathering, I kindly ask all Zoom participants to turn on their cameras for the last photography session. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more? Oh, no. 1, 2, 3. Okay. With the end of the brief photography session, our program for tonight comes to a close. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to apologize for any shortcomings that may have occurred. With that, our program closes with Suratul As and Tasbih Kafaruh. Thank you everyone for joining our program tonight. See you later.
Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sama-sama.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone, and hope to see you soon, maybe in Malaysia.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Inshallah.
Bye.
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 Hi, Amira.